Hey everyone, John Clauser here from my music corner of the world. And I just kind of want to give a little channel update of things that I've been kind of up to and things I'm looking to hopefully one day tackle and get into doing on my little channel here as far as different bands and stuff that I kind of want to mess with. So so lately I've been I've been on a collecting vinyl kick. Not huge, not a great deal, not like some people. Um, but I've been picking up some stuff that whenever I do decide to get a vinyl a record player, one of these days, I'm gonna actually listen to some of this stuff. It's terrible. I don't even have I have all I'm starting to collect all this vinyl, and I don't even have a record player to play it on. So, um, I'm just gonna kind of go through some of this a little bit here. Um, This is some stuff that I picked up in my travels, both when my wife and I went up to Mississippi, and we took a ride up to Clarksdale, up to the Delta Blues Museum. So the first thing up I've got here is this. This was a record store day deal, and what this is a reproduction of you can actually see it better here. Um, Terraplane Blues from Robert Johnson. So Vocalion, these were originally on 78s with the B side of It's Kind Hearted Woman. Um, Terraplane Blues was Robert Johnson's biggest seller. Actually sold about 5,000 copies back in the day. So that was a pretty big deal for a blues artist back then. Um, Probably never saw a dime of any of the royalties, unfortunately, um, but I've always wanted to get some of Robert Johnson stuff on vinyl, and I've seen these, and I heard about these, and I'll be like, man, I wish I could have gotten one. And Delta Blues Museum actually had this one, so I was very stoked to get that. Um, and then I got this pressing, the complete master takes. This was a repress back in 2016, I believe. 2016 or 2014, 2016. Anyway, this has the main San Antonio and Dallas recordings right here. I've read a couple good reviews about the vinyl pressing of this, so hopefully it sounds really good. It gives a little history on the back, and of course the one picture that we all know and love by of Robert. Um, This one was at these next couple. I found at my local store here in Birmingham, or one of the local stores I go to called Seasick Records. Um, Again, repressing Blind Willie Johnson, Sweeter as the Years Go By. I love Blind Willie Johnson. I he Just wonderful songs. Um, these If you know the song Nobody's Fault But Mine, it's been covered by a number of different artists like Aerosmith and Led Zeppelin, and I think even Glenn Kaiser did a version of it, and a few other bands. Anyway, so that was a Blind Willie Johnson song originally. um in the Zeppelin song, In My Time of Dying, there's a couple references to a song of Blind Willie Johnson's here as well. For some reason, it is escaping me which one it was. I have to think about that one. But anyway, this is another one. If you can look up anything by Blind Willie Johnson, I highly recommend it. Very good stuff. Very gravelly voice, slide guitar kind of sound. Dark Was the Night, warm was the ground, dark was the night. Uh, Probably his most well-known kind of a moaning blues song. You have this just chilling slide guitar, and he's just kind of doing this moaning sound. Uh, just a very chilling song indeed. Charlie Patton, founder of the Delta Blues. This one is a 2 album set. Also recently reissued. I believe this came out in, I don't know when this one came out. I can't remember. But anyway, um, Charlie Patton's another one. Very early Delta blues singer, guitar player. Um, I really just liked going to the beginning when it comes to when it comes to the blues, and so that's a big thing for me. And guys like Charlie Patton, wonderful songs. Blind Willie Johnson, Robert Johnson, um, Blind Lemon Jefferson would be another one. Skip James, Bo James, Tommy Johnson. Um, those are some that come off the top of my head. Obviously, Muddy Waters um, is a little bit later. Son House, Honey Boy Edwards would be another one. Of course, BB King. Um, Lots of good stuff to investigate. If you love blues and you really want to go back deep, go as far as you can. It'll be well worth your time. Um, Switching to rock, I had to get I saw this and this looked so pretty. I love this album by Alice Cooper from the inside. Um, it was uh it was a dear friend of mine, Angel. Her was she actually loved this album as well, and she had a copy of it. And it's kind of his rehab album that when he got out of rehab that first time around in the 70s. It was a really good album though. From Nurse Rosetta, Million Billy, from the inside, How You Gonna See Me Now? I mean, there's just great album. Um, I went on a bit of an April wine kick. So some of these aren't really in the best shape as far as the covers go. Here you got Harder, Faster, Nature of the Beast, uh, First Glance, and lastly, The Whole World's Going Crazy. Um, so I've kind of gotten into April wine. You can usually see me on Grant's Rock Warehouse talking with them about the April Wine albums, and he's made me a fan. So I've really enjoyed the catalog and started listening to their third and fourth album, um, which we're going to be tackling in a couple of weeks. So I'm going to start getting that stuff together. Um, so that is April. That's some of the vinyl stuff I've been picking up. I think I've shown these before, but now I feel like my collection is completed. So, um, so I don't know if you can see that the band Bride. That's all their studio albums. I was missing one. I was missing Fistful of Bees, and I finally found a copy on Discogs that looked wasn't too crazy priced and was actually being sold here in the States. So I was finding copies, but they were pretty much all overseas and really expensive to ship in. So I was very happy to get that. I actually had it at one time. I just didn't load it into um, my iTunes. So I had to get just had to go back and get it. A lot of the stuff there's a lot of reissues. So, but Bride is a great band. I really like, I've always liked listening to them, going probably on 20 plus years. They have a certain period that I'm a big fan of, especially. So, um, and then they also have a lot of compilations, some lost reels, which is like a lot of demos and different versions, and then you have a few best of collections. You have a solo album by Dale Thompson there as well, and I also have these, which are some of Dale Thompson's other projects, and then you have a couple Bride demo CDs here as well. So I haven't had a chance to listen to these yet, but I'm hoping to get into that very shortly, and I can report back on that. Another band that I grew up with, and I really decided I want to kind of investigate their catalog as well, um, is the James Gang, with Joe Walsh and Dale Peters and Jim Fox as the original band. And that's of course their catalog. I do have the James Gang live in concert CD. I just don't have it with this collection here as well. But that's a great CD. I love listening to that one. Um, I'm the most familiar as far as studio wise. I'm most familiar with the Rides Again album, with the great Funk 49. Um, Tend My Garden, wonderful track. Garden Gate, Here I Go Again, and Thanks. It's kind of a little folky medley um side. And then of course the album closer on this, Ashes, the Rain and I just absolutely adore. Um but your album uh with Funk 48, Lost Woman, which is an old Yardbird song, Take a Look Around. That's a great album. Thirds, which has Walk Away, as well as Dreaming in the Country, You Dig, White Man, Black Man, Live My Life Again. Yeah, there's a lot of great songs. Um, my brother actually had these on vinyl, and I think he still does. Straight Shooter and Passing Through. This is a has a little bit of a different lineup. Roy Kenner and something Choyano. I can't think of his first name. Um, that was for a couple albums. Um, then you have Bang in Miami, and this had Tommy Bolin, who would go on to Deep Purple, and unfortunately, he would be killed in an accident, mid '70s. Um, he would be on this album, or on these two albums rather, and then these were the last two, which I had as another different lineup, uh, Reborn and Jesse Come Home. So I'm not familiar with those last two. I'm really not actually familiar with the last four. So that'll be a very interested to hear what those sound like. Um, as far as books go, yes, I even have some books, and one of these days I'm going to start reading them. The New Face Warning, this book by Jeff Wagner, biography on Face Warning. I'm hearing a lot of wonderful, good things about it, and I cannot wait to start getting into it. This one I actually have started reading. Odyssey, Music from the Elder, the definitive examination of music from the Elder, my current favorite Kiss album. And there's mostly a lot of interviews, a lot of stuff like that. Not necessarily with the band. There is some quotes by them, but mostly a lot of different interviews with many different people who were associated with the band at that time. Um, Finding it very interesting. Um, and then this one, Kelly Garney, Angels with Dirty Faces. Um, this is just Kelly's story about playing, basically growing up friends with Randy Rhoads. Um, another another just big guitar influence for me, and it's a book I can't wait to really dive into big time. Um, I'm just really bad about reading. So, um, let's see, what's another? Um, there's a lot of other. Of course, I'm still looking to do the Wasp show. I've got some ideas that I'm going to throw to a panel of folks that we're going to talk about the albums with. So I'm really looking forward to that. Where can you find me? Um, I don't have any shows coming up for a while. Not until September. A couple of shows. I've got some shows lined up in September. For those of you who watched the Rocket or the North and South Metal Connection show where we talked about 1986, thank you for tuning into that. We are going to be doing 1976 on September 9th. We're going to record that episode. Um, or no, September 10th, excuse me, September 10th, Saturday. We're going to record that. I'm going to be doing an episode with Davey Gallagher of Davey's music, musical flicks and cinema picks. So I'm looking forward to doing that. I'm also going to be doing a show on the blues. So I kind of gave some of my stuff away there, with on Tyler Hagopian's, LP Tremors, channel. We're going to be recording episode there. I recorded an episode where with our that's is out on YouTube where we talk about my little DIY CD, um, reflections of my life with Ryan Gavalier on his Ryan's Vinyl Destinations channel. Uh, wonderful discussion about my songs, which I don't get to do very often. So um, it's very cool when somebody's actually interested in my music. I'm hoping the North and South Metal Connection, maybe we'll do a review with this A to Z with Ray Alder from Fates Warning and Mark Zonder, formerly of Fates Warning and Warlord. Fantastic album. If you have not picked this thing up, rush to go get it. It's a great album. Looking forward to maybe doing a show about that. Um, on Peter Kerr's Rock Daydream Nation, got to do Tall Stories, where he got to talk about Tall Stories, and I got to talk about Cold Chisel. Um, Cold Chisel, Circus Animals. Uh, Fantastic album. I really loved this. Didn't sound like it was recorded in 1980 or 1982 rather. Really, really impressed with that. Good stuff. Highly recommend that one. That was part of our musical rock postcards um, um, series that we are doing. Uh, I don't have a physical copy of this yet, but I hope to be getting it soon. I got a vinyl and a CD version of, so the vinyl might be taking a little longer. But anybody who remembers this band, Becoming the Archetype, can't really see the logo that clearly because it's kind of really, really kind of blends in the cover there. Um, there's the band as they were back in 2005. They just released a new album called Children of the Great Extinction. I've listened to it at least 3 or 4 times, and it is absolutely amazing. Hearing Jason Wisdom back on vocals and bass. You got next to him Count Seth on guitar and keyboards, and the fourth guy there who's Squatting Duck back on drums. Great to hear those guys doing some music again. I love Terminate Damnation. This is a fantastic album. I've heard them play a lot of the stuff off this live when they would play shows here in Birmingham. Of course, I knew them first as a band called The Remnant, and this is kind of tough to find, but this is a great boy. Some of this early stuff is so good. I man, I really need to put that on it because it's great to hear that album again. Um, anyway, that's just some of the things that I've been kind of dipping my toes into. Another guy that I've also been wanting to another guy that I've been wanting to take a deeper dive into his material is this fella right here, Chris Taylor, and this is his album, "Lovers, Thieves, Fools, and Pretenders," um, which I just noticed huh, as a typo on the side. I just noticed that. Anyway, yeah, this is a great album. I finally have gotten to listen to a lot more of his stuff, and I really want to keep continuing my deep dive into his material. Um, Please look him up on Bandcamp, look him up on Patreon, support his page, uh, Instagram. Um, he's just got a lot of great stuff. Highly recommended. Great little bit mix of everything. You guys, if anybody has watched the Love Coma video, please, if you haven't watched that, watch our discussion with it was with Grant from Grant's Rock Warehouse, Ryan Gavalier from Ryan's Vinyl Destinations, Peter Kerr from Rock Daydream Nation, and Todd Evans, as the five of us discussed that album. Actually, the four of them discussed the album. I just kind of listened to them and smiled because I love that album so much. It was a great album from 2020. Highly go recommend checking it out. You will not be disappointed. So, with that, that is all that I'm going to throw out there today. Just a little update on stuff because I got a lot of things I have that I want to do. Again, I want to take the time to do them right. So, with that said, I hope you guys are having a great day. Thank you for coming into my little music corner of the world. I'll see y'all soon.